So the first thing that I'd like to ask is, what is the general like level of familiarity of you all with like working with a terminal, working with a shell? Like, who's ever worked with a terminal before? Who has done work in the terminal before, and who? Okay, a couple of people. And who would consider themselves to be confident in using the terminal? Not less people. Okay, perfect. Well, that will hopefully change in like that will hopefully be changed like an hour and a half. So who are we? So this workshop is done. I'm presenting it with Fan right there. So I'm Adrian. I'm in my third year of computer science apprenticeship. I'm not at EPFL. Complicated story if you want to talk about it over in Pizza. I've been using Unix systems and Linux systems for around 3 years now, and I'm completely addicted to it. I love it. I use Vim mainly. And Fan, what do you use? All right, so yeah, so like we like Unix both. Um, so you may have seen words thrown around like shell, terminal, CLI, command prompts, and you may have thought like you don't know what that is, you don't know what that means. And the basic idea, all of it is a way to interact with your computer in a text-based way. A terminal looks like this, basically. It's just an application in which you write text and it does stuff. It just allows you to interact with your computer in a text-based way. So question that I get asked a lot when I talk about terminals is why would I use a terminal when I can use, for example, a GUI, a file explorer, like a general like a graphical user interface. That's the word. And there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, in a GUI, you have as much control as the GUI allows you to have. So you can do a lot. You may be able to do a lot of stuff, but there are a lot of stuff that you may also not be able to do, and that terminals will allow you to do. Also, it requires a mouse. I hate using the mouse to find stuff personally. That's you get used to it when you're working in a terminal that you don't use your mouse. It's kind of hard to automate because finding an element on the UI and click on it, it's hard to automate compared to just typing. And also, yeah, it's not cool. So a terminal fixes all of these issues for me. I really have as much control as I want. If I want to do something in my terminal, I can do it. If I want to do something in the GUI, there's a good chance that I can't. So it doesn't require a mouse, and as I'll give multiple examples of that later. I just need typing. Like I don't have to find the information. I can just if I'm in a specific if I'm in this directory, I don't have to go like, okay, so where is this file? Where is this file? I don't know where is this folder? Like the downloads folder. Where is it? I can just go like cd down. CD downloads. Boom. There we go. I'm in my downloads directory. So it is much more straightforward, much faster to use. And also since you're working with text and it's very easy to automate, and you can do that in so many ways that Fan is going to show a bit later with Bash, with shell scripts and things like that. And yeah, of course, you look smart while using it. So yeah. First things first, before I go any more in depth, Windows, are there any Windows users in this room? Okay, couple. I sent a mail through Luma like 3 days ago about installing WSL. Was anyone able to do it? One, okay. Okay. So yeah, just quick note about that. WSL, basically, it's the Windows subsystem for Linux. It is a way to have a Linux kernel running inside of Windows. And a lot of what you'll see in this workshop won't work on Windows because Windows just works differently. However, absolutely everything that you'll see during this workshop will work on both Unix-based system, on both Linux and on both macOS, which are both Unix-based system. So it takes a bit of time to install. So if you started now, maybe it's done in a few minutes, hopefully. But I recommend doing it. The installation, it's like this is a Microsoft doc. It's pretty straightforward. I recommend doing it if you wanna be able to do shit. So yeah. What's a terminal? Does anyone have an idea? What is a terminal? I mean, I kind of hinted at it, but does anyone have a more precise idea of like the kind of things that you can do with the terminal? No, no one. All right, that's fine. So a terminal, originally, to get a bit of history, originally this is a terminal. So like this is just something where this is just an API. Like it is just something to interact with an API, somewhat. Where this was the first thing that was used to like interact with a computer, and you just have this screen, you type your thing in, it does stuff. Today, what we refer to as a terminal, we have a couple of them. We have Ghosty, we have Kitty, we have this is iTerm, we have Alacrity, that's the biggest ones. All of them are called terminal emulators. And what a terminal emulator is basically the same. It's just a place where you input text and it's gonna do stuff. I'm gonna talk more about that. And it's important to understand that so the terminal doesn't allow you to run commands. Z shell, which is very popular, and we have bash. If you are on macOS, the default one is Z shell. So if you're on macOS, chances are you'll be using Z shell. Otherwise, if you're on WSL, or I think on most Linux distributions, it's going to be bash by default. Both of them work fairly well. There are some minor differences, but it doesn't matter too much. And the important thing to understand is that this program that runs right there, like this thing that displays this text right there, this thing that allows me to input text, to have a text going and have something happening, is called the shell. And the shell is the program that interacts with your operating system, with your computer. And are there any questions so far? If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt. Yes.
I'm a little bit curious about some of the shell differences, and maybe I don't know how the back is feeling, but the volume is a bit high for me.
Volume is a bit high. Perhaps I can sound a bit. Is that better?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so a couple of differences between shells. It's really minor differences where Z shell is built on bash, which is built on sh, which is another shell that you'll find somewhere in a couple of operating systems. Z shell just adds a couple of utilities to be able to configure your system more easily. And I don't know exactly all of the differences, honestly, but Z shell is just bash plus plus. That's pretty much it. Any other questions? And yeah, I guess there are also other shells that exist. Like you can mention new shell, you can mention fish are two big ones. I'm not going to talk about these, we're not going to talk about these in this workshop because it goes a bit further beyond. Everything that you can do in Z shell, you can do in bash, and everything that you can do in bash, you can do in Z shell. But there are very few things that you can do in Z shell that you'll be able to do in something like new shell or fish. It's because these shells are not POSIX compatible, which it means that it doesn't behave the same way. I'm honestly not sure about the exact definition of that because I don't use fish or new shell, but these exist. You can use them if you want. So a shell, basically, it's something that's called a REPL. You may have heard this word before. A REPL is a read, eval, print loop. And what that means is just like the program is going to read something, is going to evaluate it, is going to print some output, some results, and then it's just going to repeat. It's a loop. There are a couple of REPLs that you may have used before. Like for example, if I just open Python there, this is a live Python environment where I can do is going to continuously run, read your inputs, execute it, and then print some outputs. And I can give an example of that. Good. Right. I need to go to. Should have said that before. Yeah. So if I'm in there, I can type, for example, and if you're on your terminal, you can also like do that. Open your terminal and type the commands pwd. And pwd stands for print working directory. And when you execute that, it gives you an output. So like in my case, it gives me that. And we can talk a bit about what that means, because that's a whole other interesting topic. This is so it's going to print my current working directory. Is going to print a path that leads from the root to the current directory that I am in. And compare this to I'm going to give this graph first. So it basically would your file system, like the way that your files are organized and built, looks like this basically. So first you have this root directory, which is just slash on macOS and Linux, and it's going to be C on Windows. Then you would have a subdirectory or another one with subfiles, subdirectories. It's just a tree data structure. And for me, like if we go back there, we can see that the path goes slash, so there, slash home slash this, which is my username. It's the name of my session, and then slash projects slash GitHub slash vaults. It goes basically down to the path where I am in. And if I go into a file manager, into a GUI to show it, so like I'm currently in my home directory. So home slash it's this directory slash home slash aguntual. I can go into projects. Then I can go into GitHub. I can go into Vaults, and then I can go into Shell Workshop. And there I am in the exact same folder that I was in before. And I have a terminal back like down there with this file manager, and I can type the same command, and I am in this directory. Any questions about that? About how path works? About how I showed you that? Nope. Okay. So let's go back there. So in a file system that goes also for Windows, you'll always find the concept of absolute and relative path. So an absolute path is going to be something that starts from the root. So like I type out the full path. So for example, home agental projects or .zshrc or var bin zsh. It's going to be the full path of what I'm referencing. And then you have a relative path. Relative path just means relative to wherever I am right now. So for example, this is an absolute path, but if I want in there, I'm in the wrong one, the workshop. So if there, for example, I want to go into this folder, so I am a folder, great name, then other folder, and then I want to reference file.txt, then the path is going to be I am a folder slash other folder it was slash file.txt. So it's going to be I am a folder, other folder, file.txt. That's a relative path. Relative path can also take a dot in front of them. The dot means the current directory, so the directory that I am in. So if I want to go to dir1 slash dir2 slash file.txt, and I put a dot here, that is going to be from my current directory. I'm going to go to dir1, dir2, and file.txt. And same thing for classes, CS project, or whatever. Then you have the special notation right there. This special notation means that I'm going to go to the previous directory. Is the equivalence of going like, I'm in this folder, I'm going back to this folder. This is dot in a Unix file system. And yeah, with that, I can talk a bit about navigation. So you're in your terminal, right? So you're in a specific folder, maybe. What do you do now? Like, how do you navigate around? Well, yeah, I guess we can see a bit. I can put it more down. Yeah, of course, of course. ZSHRC, I think you're talking about that fan config files.
I didn't explicitly mention about the SHA configure for you then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's this is a config. So this is a special file. I'll talk about why there's a dot in front of there. But it's the ZSHRC file is a config file for ZSH, for the Z shell. That's which is this one right there.
And ZSH, the one below it.
So yeah, this So this path right there goes to the executable ZSH. So it goes to a file that is named ZSH, and that in that case is an executable file. So it's if I type out /var/bin/zsh, it is going to execute that. Like I'm referencing the program. I'm gonna talk more about that, but I'm referencing that program, and it's not there. Okay, whatever. Well, it is just going. ZSH is the program that runs the shell. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. So let's say, so okay. So first of all, so you're in this shell right there. You're in the shell workshop or whatever directory. How do you know where to go from there? You can use a command called ls for list. So you just type ls, press enter, and there it's gonna list everything that is in this directory. So if I go back to this, to there, as you can see that there is big file.txt is right there, IMF folder is right there, and then you have main and main.c and workshop.md. So ls just allows you to list what is in your current directory, though I like to use it in a slightly different way than just that. What I like to do is do ls-lah, and what that means, as you can see, it's going to print out things in a slightly different way, where it's going to print out, so like all of the list is right there. It's going to print out the last edit date. It's going to print out the file, the size file. And this is going to print out also some permission stuff that's Fan is going to talk about a bit later. And what I did there, basically, if you do ls-l, it is going to have that fancy that fancy display. If you do ls-la, it is going to add like these two, which are hidden files. Hidden files in the Unix file system are files that start with a dot. Talking more about that later. For example, there. Where did I put that again? I put that in. Okay, yeah. So there, if I go to IMF folder, as you can see that there is something that's missing there. So like you have other folder, which is right there. You have yet another folder, which is right there, but you don't have sneaky folder. And it's not there. It's not there simply because it is a hidden folder. And hidden folders, you can like in your file manager, you can look at them, you can see them. But if I type ls-la, a is going to print out this folder. If I do just ls-l, it is not going to print out this folder, this hidden folder. And same goes for hidden files. And the zshrc file that you asked about earlier is a hidden file that doesn't show in that case. And then finally the h, what it does, the h in the commands like ls-lah, it is going to print the size file in a more manageable way. If I don't put it, like let's say I just do ls-la, there it prints out the file, the size of big file.txt is like whatever this number is. Well, if I just use lah, it's going to print out 1.3 megabytes. It's just readable size, and that's how and that's how you can like see what is in your current directory. Now that you've seen what is in your current directory, you can move in another directory. And for that, you can use the command cd. Cd for change directory. So like cd IMF folder. You can also autocomplete. Like if you just type the beginning of the name of the folder, I use cd I press tab and it autocompletes. And so in there, and I can press enter, and I'm going to be in this folder. So like other folder and yet another folder. Then the next thing that you may want to do, for example, is go back one folder up. And we saw that right before. If I want to go back up one folder, I can do cd ... And cd ... puts me back to the shell workshop. it puts me back to the shell workshop directory. And that's basically it about navigation. Like you need CD, you need ls, and that's pretty much it. Like anything else that you might need for navigation, like yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you can use a lot of tools that allow you to navigate easier in an easier way, but 90% of what you'll need to do is using that. Are there any questions about that? Nope. All right. Yes.
Just out of curiosity, can you sort things? Like for instance, you want to order multiple flavors.
There is a flag for it. Do you know it? -D. All right. -T. All right. So like if I do ls-t, let's see. Yeah, okay, it organizes it. How does it organize it?
Yes, probably.
That's capital S, thank you. It's not a flag I use. It's not a flag I ever use. You can do it. And are you talking about documentation? I think you are. Are you talking about man? Yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, fan later will show you a good way to get documentation about that, like to see what's up with that.
But you can also use --.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, a lot of commands, a lot of Unix commands are going, you can just do like ls-help, for example, and boom, I get an entire help prompt that tells me. So like, let's see, for example, so you have the -a that I talked about. You have, okay, so -d is going to list the directories, not their contact, but it's just going to list the directories only. Then we set -s. Okay, so capital S allows you to sort. So it's gonna sort by file size by default. The largest first, but you can change that. And so yeah, just use if you the --help flag is available on like 90% of Unix-based systems, and you can just yeah you can just like on 90% of commands, sorry, and you can just use it. Any yes.
Yeah, and one last question. To display the tree that you displayed, do we have to install an extension?
That is another command. I believe there is a way to do this without commands, but the command I use is an external thing. Yeah, it's called
Alternative commands. You can ls-lr.
LR.
Big R. Yes.
Indeed.
Not exactly the same, but like best way is the same thing.
Yeah, yes. So it does list you everything recursively, but it's not as nice as having like this. All right. Do you have any other questions? So like now that's so like you can navigate, right? But if you could only navigate in a terminal, that wouldn't be really useful. So like for example, how would I rename a file? How would I like copy it? I copy the file name. How would I like copy the file from here to here? How would I do this kind of stuff? Well, there are commands for that, and they're pretty simple. So the first command that we can look at, for example, would be, so I have this main.c file. What if I want to rename it to, I don't know, extension.c? So what I can do is that I can type mv, which is the move command. What the move command, what mv is going to do, it is going to rename a file into something else. And that something else can be an entirely different path. So for example, a use that you can have of mv is I can do mv main.c into IAM folder. So if I go there to show you exactly what it's going to do, so I have main.c right there. So I'm going to move main.c into this folder. Enter, and it's gone from there, and it's right there. And same thing if I cd into that folder. And then, so I have main.c right there. I want to move it back to the previous folder. I can do mv main.c And then I'm gonna put the path, and the path in that case it's relative. So dot dot means the previous directory, as we saw earlier. So I do that, it disappears from here, and it's back in there, right there. And now let's say I want to rename it. Well, to rename it, you also just use the move command. You just move the file from one name to another. It's yeah, you get used to it. So you do move. It is in the previous. So you do mv main.c into I said extension.c, for example. And as we can see, extension.c is right there. I can move it back to main.c by doing mv extension.c into main.c. There we go, it's back to main.c. So that's how you move stuff around, that's how you rename stuff. It's the same command. Let's say I want to copy. So to copy, for example, I want to copy main.c into this folder. What I can do is simply type cp, which stands for copy. Cp is the cp is the copy command. I can do cp main.c into this folder. And now if I go there, as you can see, there is another copy of that file right there. It just copied the file over, and it has also all of the same contents. I don't have something to open it. I'll just open it from there. So like this file just says like printf hello Losak. And if I go to this folder and I do this again, it's still the same. So it just copied it over. So now that I copied it over, I can do whatever I want. But let's say, for example, I did not want to have it there. Like that was a mistake. This file is too much. I don't want it. There is a way to delete files, and it's the command called rm. So you would just do rm main.c. And the rm commands, there is some pretty interesting stuff about it. Let's say, for example, I try to delete to rm other folder. It's not gonna let me because it's a directory. So to solve that, you have, if you want to remove that folder, you would have two options. The first one would to use the command rm there, which is going to allow you to delete the folder entirely. But I like to use another option, which is rm-r. rm-r basically is going to recursively delete the contents of the directory, or like of the files that's of the directory that's you're deleting. So I can do rm-r, boom, it's gone. And now that's where you need to be a bit careful. There's no such thing as a trash bin that you would have on Windows or like on a graphical user interface. There's no such thing as a trash bin. If I rm something, it's gone. It's completely gone in there, and there is absolutely no way to recover it. So that command should be used very carefully. For example, if I were to do rm-r/, that's a very dangerous command, right? It would wipe out my entire disk.
Can you demonstrate?
Yes. The thing is, yeah, the people that made this command know that people were gonna do rm-r/. So there is a failsafe, thankfully, because otherwise my drive would be gone. So yeah, there is this flag, no preserve roots, that you can use along with the rm commands. Don't use that one. It is going to wipe your disk. Don't, like, if I press enter, my drive is gone right there. So I'm not gonna do it. Oh yeah, and the way that, for example, I can do that right there, this is something that you're gonna be able to do in any kind of terminal emulators. I'm using Ghosty, but you can use anything. You can use iCherm on macOS, or you can use the Windows terminal if you're crazy. Just if you press Control-C, it is going to cancel the current operation. And that goes for pretty much anything. So like, for example, this is an executable file. It doesn't look like one, but it is an executable file, and I can see it. If I do ls/lah, right there, there is an executable file. There is an executable flag, but it's right there actually. But I don't remember how that one works. I don't use that. Whatever, that doesn't matter. But I can execute it. It says hello Losak. It's just the main.c that I compiled, and What was I talking about? Not remember. What was I talking about?
Yeah, I think that.
Whatever. Okay. I lost my train of thoughts. Whatever.
Searching? Yeah, searching.
Yes.
Create a file.
I was gonna say it, yeah. So yeah, good question. So now let's say that you want to create a file or create a directory. There are two ways that you would do that. First one, if you do, it's like the first command that you need to learn is that you need to do that is touch. Touch. So the touch command is a bit special because it has a side effect that we use to create a file. So if I do touch file.txt, if I'm there, it created file.txt. Now I can create file to create it there. And the file is empty, like there is nothing in there. But originally, like it wasn't for that. Originally, what the touch command does is that it's going to update the access and modification times of your file or of whatever you're working on. So like if I do now, if I do touch file.txt again, well, nothing happens because it's right there, but actually it updated the time of creation and modification of that file. And the nice side effect is that if you do this on a file that doesn't exist, it creates it. So touch is a way to create a file, basically. You touch whatever you want, and it got created right there. If you want to create a directory, you can use the makedir command. So like I do makedir and then folder with a nice name, and it created this folder right there. And now, well, you can move stuff around. Like I can move this beautiful file just created into a folder with a nice name. And now I have a folder with a nice name and a file with a nice name. And yeah, another cool thing. So there, as you could see, I put some underscores under like what if I want to create a folder that has spaces in its name? It's not like it's something that you may want to do. It's and it is actually possible to do that. You would do makedir, then you would put some codes there, and then I can do this has spaces, and where am I in this directory? And there it created this has spaces. So like you can actually you can actually create these. And now if I want to arm it, something interesting, it looks like I'm gonna arm this has spaces, is going to put some backslash automatically before the space as a way to escape the character, just so my shell doesn't interpret it as a space, but it works the same. Of course, because I need to put arm-r. Arm-r, there we go. Okay, so we've done creating files, we've done moving files around, we've done copying files, we've done deleting files. One thing that you may want to do is what's in a file, basically just read what's in a file. And there is a command for that, it's called cat. I'm not sure exactly why it's called cat, but it's called cat. And if I cat main.c, for example, it's gonna print out the contents of that file. So like I cat main.c, and in there is that, and that is exactly what was being executed there. Or like not in this one, but yeah, this is the executable file. And now if I want, I can compile it and everything. Then there is like putting text in a file. Now there are a couple of ways to do that. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
We have already applied the English and it has content. Does it erase the content?
No, it doesn't. Touch is not going to mess with the content of your file. Touch is only going to if your file already exists, it's gonna do virtually nothing. It's gonna do some stuff to it, but it's not something that is important. Like it's not gonna touch the content. Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Thank you. I did not know that. So yeah, where was that? Yes, putting text into files. So to put text into files, yeah, there's a very basic command that I didn't show. It's called it's the echo command. Echo hello world. So like there, echo command just prints out text. It just puts text on the screen. That's it. That's all it does. And I think there are a couple of other ways that it does, but the 99% of the times that you're going to use echo is just to print out text on the screen. Where it gets really powerful is that you can combine it with a nice feature of your shell, which you're going to talk about more later, which is this symbol right there, this caret right there. And this caret, what it does, to.txt, it's going to redirect the output. So like the output that is there is going to redirect to whatever I put there. So like this file right there. So if I do echo hello world redirected to file.txt, and then I cat, you can see first that it doesn't print anything to the screen. And if I cat file2.txt, hello world. So this is a way to put text in a file. And there you do have to put quotes there. It's just if you're putting a single word, it's like if I'm doing that, or like if I'm doing that, I don't have to put quotes, but if it's multiple words, it's better to put quotes. All right, and file2, yeah. But as you can see right there, this is where something changed. So what I did there is that I echoed hello world and I put it in file2.txt. Then we could see that it was there. But then I echoed hello this time in file2.txt. The content of file2 got erased. That's because the single caret is going to replace the content of the file with what you echo into it. Really important to keep in mind. I've messed with files in the past because of this. And to mitigate this, if let's say you want to if let's say you want to add text to the file and not like completely erase it, what you can do is put 2 carets. Now if I put hello loshack into file2.txt, I cat it again, it's going to be put as a new line. And this is really handy to edit text from there. Now there are a lot of other ways to edit text, like I could talk about the awk or the set command. Goes a bit too far for the context of this workshop. I could also talk about the command that I've talked a couple of times, nvim, which is a file editor in my terminal. Same thing, goes a bit too far for the context of this workshop, I think, but it is something, it would be the next step to efficiently edit text, because right there, like I can just open this, and then I have a full-blown file editor that is incredibly powerful. And yeah. So for now, like if you're just like putting some text into the file and then you want to open it, let's say, do I have anything? No, I don't have anything to open in this computer. But if you want to open it, let's say with VS Code. So if I wanted to open main.c with VS Code, then yeah, that would be fine. Or I just edit the text right away. Editing text in the terminal just gets really powerful when you get into like nvim or vim or emacs or any of these. So that's all of them. I think, yes, I did cover all of them. So you have, so in summary, just to create the file or the directory, you would do major, touch, or cp, just like as general like create operations. To update the file, you would do mv, just, so if you mv on a file, so again, if you mv like main.c into main2.c, it's going to rename it. But if I mv main.c or main2.c into another folder, is going to move it. So this command has 2 uses. Then I can echo so just to print out stuff in the terminal. I can cat to read a file. I can ls to list all of the files that you would want. Then I can rm and rm there if I want to be used carefully because there is no undo button. And that's all of the navigation and all of the file creation, all of the file operation stuff that you'll ever need in like 99.9% of use cases on this. So that's about it for this. And once you get comfortable with this, you can get into some really efficient like file manipulation stuff. So like I can use some other tools as well that are in the terminal. For example, I can just like rename this into whatever I want. I can like delete it if I want. I can. It's when you get advanced into the terminal, you can get into some incredibly powerful workflows that are going to save you hours every single day. And so I recommend just like install Linux on your computer if you didn't already, and then just fuck around and find out with the terminal. Just get into terminal and try to do stuff. Like do these commands, try to read the documentation, try to figure out what the documentation talks about. That's I think the best way to get into like doing these kind of things.
Well, what if my first comment is -I?
Then you can be happy that you didn't put the no preserved flag. Unless you really want to wipe your drive, then I can't really help you there. All right. So yeah, then let's say I want to search text. Oops. Let's say I want to search text in my terminal. So like in my file system. So we saw that there were a couple of instances of the string of the text printf, and that's in all of this. Let's say I want to find every instance of the word printf in my current directory. I can use a command called grep. Something I don't really know what it stands for. All I know is that it searches text. So if I do grep printf, oops, I forgot to put in it was looking recursorily over a lot of things. Main2, where did I put it? I should have.
Not in the same directory as it was going to that.
Where is it? Folder with 9 name, that's right. So yeah, so that's like, let's say I want to look for every instance of the word printf in this file. Well, I would do grep printf, like the word on the quotation marks. Then I do the path, the full path of the file that I want to look for. So why did I do that? And there, as you can see, it's going to return me the line that contains the string, and the string is right there. Now, this is kernel, but it's not like super useful to look for a specific string of text in one file. So let's say I want to look for, let's say I want to look for that string in every single file that is in my current directory. I can use the -r flags, which stands for recursive. So I'm gonna recursively look for printf in dots being the current directory. And there it appears in multiple places. It appears in workshop.md, which is like a file with some notes that I have. It appears in this, and that's everywhere that I found it. So that just allows me to look for every instance of a word, or this can be a pattern as well. If I want to say like everything that ends in .c, I can. Like I just put stars, like everything .c. And when I'm stupid, that's for later. That's the find command. And so this can be really powerful when combined with another feature of the shell, which is this thing right there, the piping. So let's say I have some, I don't have one right there, but let's say I have a really, yes, I do actually. Let's say I have a really long file that I want to look for, that I want to look for something in. So like what I could do is that I could cat workshop.md, which is a pretty long file. And then I want to find a specific thing in that file. Then I could use this feature, the pipe, and the pipe. Are there any questions? I forgot to ask, but are there any questions by before? No, okay. So I can cat workshop.md and put a pipe, and basically when I'm gonna cat it, it's going to put every output on the screen. Then I can just grep for what I want, printf, and there, it found it. So I'm not gonna go too much further in it. and I'm just gonna go over the last command quickly, but this can be really powerful. Then you have find. So like the find commands, it just allows me to find a specific file. So this is where I wanted to give this example. So I can go everywhere, find in the current directory, everywhere where the name of the file matches this string, which is everything.c. And it only found this one. So folder with nice name.c, but if I duplicate it, main to, there we go. If I duplicate it, it's gonna find another one. And with that, you can go really advanced. You can do a lot of really powerful stuff. But we're not going to go too much into it. If you look into the syntax of grep, of finds, if you're more interested about how much further you can go, you can do some really powerful stuff. Any questions about that? Nope. All right. So I think that's you. So I'll leave it to. So I'll leave it to Fan for the rest of the workshop. So yeah, let's do some more advanced stuff.
So we just talked about searching stuff, sorry. And now we want to introduce a very important concept. It's called users and groups. So basically, every process or file in Linux belongs to a user or a group. And so for example, if we want to create a user, we can use user add or user mode to add a user or modify existing user. And you probably also heard of root, which is the super user on the system. It allows you to do everything on the system. We also like tell you how to switch to root user. And also, I will also walk through some commands like ID group to check yourself, and sudo, which is the most commonly used command to execute a command with privilege. So I will do some demo now. So for example, this is my environment. I can check my identity using ID command. Can you see like at the end? So basically ID will show like your identity information. For example, my UID is 1000 and my name is Fan. I also have a group ID like 1000. And you can also see like I have sudo group. It means I can execute sudo, for example, like this. And what if we want to create a new user? So we need to use user add command, and dash n means like we want to create a home directory. And also we can specify the show the user want to use. For example, we by default use bash, so we kind of assign bash to that user. And also like we want to let the user to use sudo, so we can use -g plus sudo. And the username can be like, for example, hack and who the user is created. So we can check if it's really be created. So you can see like if I run ID hack, it will show like related information as well. And we can use su command to switch to the user. Probably not commonly used, but this is just a demonstration. So you can, oh, sorry. Ooh. Did I create? Oh, sorry, I kind of have spelling error. So you can see like I can switch to its environment. And if I run ID now I like you can see the ID information shows differently because like I already switched to another user. So I can also check groups information using groups. So I belong to two groups. One is hack, the misspell version, and also sudo group. So basically this is the command of like modifying user or like creating new users. So the most commonly used command is sudo. So if you run sudo and you run ID, for example, you can see like it will show root, means you already switched to root user. And what if you want to, so for example, you can do sudo bash, which is a pretty dangerous command because you can basically get a show of root So you can see the prompt kind of, sorry, the resolution kind of weird. But you can basically see like the show prompt changed because we already got a show. Yes. So basically this is the user and groups. If you are interested in modifying users or adding some new users on your system. Also like next, I will like introduce some advanced file commands because like I think like Andre just showed like every file has user and group ownership when you run ls-al, and how to change this information or how to read this information. You can use some command to do that. So I will introduce some commands, for example, chmod or chown to change file permission or like ownership. Also, like we have state command. You can check the file details, and df, which is I think the also a commonly used command. You can just like run on your server and to check how many available space you still have. So let's do a quick demo. So for example, I'm in my home directory, and let's create some file. For example, I want to I use echo to create a file called. Yeah, okay. I think there's a solution kind of weird. So for example, I create the file called secret.txt using echo. So we can check the secret.txt already have been created. And if we list the information, we can see like the ownership is fan and the group ownership is also fan, which is myself. But if we switch to, so, and let me correct this. And if we switch to another user, hack, and we try to read this file, we can correctly see this file's content, which is not good because this is a secret file. And how do we prevent from this situation happening? So we can set a permission. For example, we can use chmod, and we can append a magic number. 600 means like you don't allow other people to read this file basically. So you can append a file you want to modify. And let's switch back to hack user. And now if we want to try to read this file, it will say permission denied because it doesn't have enough permission. And if you try to list the information of this file, you can see there's a lot of dashes, and means other people cannot access this file except for fan. And RW means fan himself can have the read permission and write permission. Yeah. So basically, this is the mode. And suppose we want to like transfer the ownership. We want to transfer the ownership of this file to hack. How should we do? We can use a command called chown, and we can append hack. And we can list the file again. So you can see the user of this file is changed. And if fan try to read this file again, it will have the same error as we shown previously. It will say permission denied. So basically, this is the chmod and the chown command. And you can also have some fancy commands to check the file status except for ls, like state. And state have kind of cool command. So for example, you can see like a file name, size, a number of blocks, which is related to file system. And also like access time, modify time, change time probably is useful. And another useful command I want to show is df. Df can list all the file systems you have on a system. For example, if I use df-th, you can see like my disk storage has like 477 gigabytes. And right now I already use 91%. Yeah, which is kind of tight. But it's useful command when, especially when you like access a common server. Typically, sysadmin will allocate some space to you, and you can use df command to ensure you didn't exceed this available space. Yep. So far, is there any question? Yeah.
Difference in your terminal between having this arrow or having loud tag at the
So you mean if I switch? Let me see.
yes.
So the prompt will be different, right? That's because I kind of use my custom show configs. I use dash first, and I also like modify the ashes RC she mentioned before. So I can kind of change my prompt so to make it like this. And this loud hack one is basically the default prompt by bash. Yeah, so I will introduce how to install some fancy plugin to make your terminal fancier. Yeah.
Tell them, and then this arrow, it's just your home directory.
You mean this one? Clyde? Clyde symbol means your home directory, yes. Yeah, and this is basically decoration. It means nothing. Yeah. And same as the dollar sign in bash means nothing. It's just like the beginning of prompt.
Only appears when you're with your user.
Sorry, when
It's only there when you're using your.
yeah, because I only modify the configs on my accounts. I didn't modify the last hack account because it's a newly created one. Yeah. And probably you also like can see, let me see. So you can see like the arrow actually is meaningful, like in its color. When you type false, means the return value is not 0. It will like kind of, sorry, oh, you cannot see, sorry. When you type false, the arrow's color change to red. It means the return value is not 0, which is kind of useful sometimes. Yeah. And true will be back to normal. Yes.
Like if your program errors out things, you're gonna have a red arrow. So it's a small indication that whatever you're running have an error, for example.
And what does the logout do?
Logout.
Yeah. Where you use logout.
So I can switch to logs hack logout. It will like log out the account. Yes, I cannot log out here because it will like terminate my session. So I can show you offline if you want. Yeah. So
You are logged in both users at the same time when you switch or
especially will create a new environments when you like kind of switch to like, for example, if I run this command, it will like spawn a new environment. And it's kind of a child process. I'm not sure if you know this term, but it will spawn a child process. So you can use logout or assets. So for example, if I type assets, it basically like acted as a logout feature, and it will like back to your parent process. Yes. Yep.
I might have missed it. What does 600 mean?
So 600, I don't want to talk much here, but basically if as you can see, I assign 600 to this file, it means I allow read and write permission to myself, fan, but I don't allow other people or like other people in my group to access this file. So they have no permission at all. So for example, if you want to know, I can use like 755, for example. And if we list the file again, you can see the permission kind of change. So 7 means you have a read, write, and execute permission, and 5 means the read and execute. So you can kind of search a little bit what does the number mean, but basically the number just means different permissions you can set. Yeah. And also you might notice if a file has a execute permission, it will become, the color will become green. It means that you can directly execute it. I think it's meaningless for this file, but yeah, it will show red because like it does nothing. Yeah. So far we are good. Any question? Other people? Good. So let's talk about process. So basically, like you can code process when you code running programs, and each process has ID called process ID. We call it PID for short. And we communicate with process through signal, which is not important. And process can be either background or foreground. Yep, true. So I think I will just like cut to the face. The most widely used command is probably like htop. So when you want to like access a shared server and you want to see like what commands people are running, you can use htop command, which is kind of rich command because it shows every process running and the resource usage on your system. So you can see there are like 15 bar at the top. It means I have a 16 cores on my system. Also, like you can see like a memory and swap usage. Also, like at the bottom is actually interactive, I think. Yeah. And so you can navigate the process. And for example, you want to kill, so you want to kill a process, you can directly manipulate at htop interface. And htop is actually from a command called top. Top is like a built-in like process viewer command. You can also consider using that, but I feel like it's less fancier, so I always use htop. Another interesting command you can try is ps. PS, so people will use PS with the argument AUS. So you don't have to figure out what exactly it means, but this command basically lists out all the process when you type PS OUS. And for example, if you want to filter out the process owned by you, you can, as Andren mentioned, you can use pipe and use grep, and you will grab the related process you specified, which is nice. All right, so, and we have some like dangerous command called kill and kill all. I can demonstrate how they are used. So for example, we can create some process by using sleep. So for example, sleep 5 basically means you fire out a process that was sleep for 5 seconds. So you see like it just run for 5 seconds. And you can use and fuck, where's my end? So here's my end. So you can type it at the end of the command. And what happened is it will immediately finish at the foreground and return a number called 5993, which is a PID, process ID, basically. And after 5 seconds, it will tell you like, hey, this command is done. And the difference between these two is basically you run sleep command in the background. And sometimes useful, I can, so for example, you can sleep file and echo my job is done. And put it into background, and you can, okay, probably do this. It's not happy. Fine. So I think it's Okay, I think I will demonstrate the kill command, which is more important to kill people. So for example, I can run a sleep and it will return a PID. Oh, sorry. I think the solution kind of bad. So for example, if I run sleep, it will return a PID. So we can use kill command, and with the PID, shoot, it will say terminate. We kill the process successfully. And another powerful command is called kill all. It sounds scary, but it actually is scary. So let's fire out some sleep. I can do this again, and we can run. So let's use PS to like inspect that. So we can see we fire out a lot of sleep commands, and I set the time longer. And you can see we run a lot of sleep command, and I want to kill this. Oh, yes, and we kill like 10 sleep commands at once, which is nice command. You want to like kind of do something bad to your friends. Yeah. I think another useful command I probably want to introduce. So suppose you use Vim. I'm not sure you know this or not, but you use Vim to add a file. Yes.
How did you get PID? Did you run some commands? Because
Okay.
when I, for instance, run in the bash
Mhm.
sleep 5, I don't get the PID. Is it a math thing or is it?
Let me try. So sleep file. I think I need to put it back on.
It's because of the ampersand.
Did you add this and a symbol? I think like if you don't add this, it just like run a foreground and it will be blocking until you finish. So if you like append the and symbol, it will immediately return the PID and you can kill. Okay, it's too late, but yes.
I guess you can show the PID off.
PID, what?
PID off.
Never use it? Ah, yeah, I know. So for example, if we want to know a running process, the PID of a running process, for example, I run a sleep command at the background, and I want to know PID. Suppose I don't know the PID here. And we can use PID off to observe its PID. And I think we can also like, for example, htop. So for example, I'm running Zash right now. I want to know what is the PID of my running Zash. I can use PID off and it will return 4584. So if I kill, I will not. Yeah, so basically that's the comments about process. Any questions so far? Sorry, I need to introduce very quick. Yeah. So let's do the hard part, shell scripting, which is the most powerful feature you can do in Bash or like other shells. So I will introduce like how do you declare variable, like other programming language, you can assign a variable to a value. And also like what is the difference between export and without export. Also like there's a special variable, I think you saw it frequently, like what is path, why you need to set path. Also like echo printf, I think Andrea also introduced this previously. Yeah. And alias is also a helper to create shorter or like more concise command, which is kind of useful. So let's get started. Wait, my show change? Why? Okay, whatever. So we can first print some existing variable. The most common is path. So if I echo path, it just print out a list of paths separated by a column. So it means when you run some binaries or you run some programs, bash will automatically search from these directories. So for example, I have executable ls. You see it's under bin, but why I don't have to type the full path like bin/ls? That's because bash or dash does this for you. So you just need to type ls and it will does its job. Yeah. And also we can also expose some variables, for example, show. So you can see like I'm using dash, and you can have home, which points to your home directory. And we can also set variables by ourselves. For example, if we can set the variable food to bar, and we can use echo to print the content. So for example, and you will successfully print out the value inside foo. And what is the difference between full bar and export full bar? So for example, now I'm not using export. And if I run a bash, a new bash inside my dash, and I echo full, it will show nothing. But if you use export, and I run bash, then I print out, it will print bar. So basically, when you use export keyword, the variable assignment will be inherited by your child process, which means if you fire up new bash process inside your original shell, it will still like show the variables correctly. Yes, good. So let me see. Oh, we forgot to mention printf, which is another useful command you can use. I think it's like basically a more powerful echo, and it use like C printf. Printf is similar, so I think you can do this. And full. Yeah, so you can like add some format string like this to create more like powerful. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. So for example, you can have a format string like this, like how you program in C. And next is alias command. So an example will be this. We said like I think 99% of people use ls with -al. So you don't want to type many characters, so you just make an abbreviation. And in this case, you can use alias. So for example, this command will map ll to ls-al command. So if I type it, ll will print whatever ls-al is. And you can alias, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, you mean like if I have a variable called ll as well? I think in bash, if you write show, like typically you will just overwrite. If like, for example, if you assign full bar and you assign again and you print out, it will just like be overwritten the original value. Is that what you are saying?
So can you overwrite CD, for example? Like
Let's say we can check. Like this. So for example, ls. So you will like be overwritten.
There's actually a really good use case for that. If you want to look into Z oxide,
It's a program that allows you to just type the beginning of the path, and it'll allow you to go anywhere in your file system, like 2 keystrokes. It's really powerful, and for that I alias cd to z outside. It's like I just type cd and z outside. I just really find z outside.
But I think the best alias probably is
Yes,
right.
no preservers.
So I'm not sure if I need it, but yeah, I'll not try here. But it's a container, so whatever actually. So yeah, I think that's the basic part of variable. You can just assign variable and print out. Yeah.
The alias directly adds like a line in the buffer.
Can you say again?
Alias command will add the alias in the buffer
No, it won't. It just does it for the current session. And then you can put the alias in your bash RC if you want to current.
Yeah. So for example, I think I can use bash. Yeah, I will do that. So right now, you see like by default, there are some like alias commented out. So we can get back. So for example, and now, so source is a command you can kind of import what you have in the script to your current environment. So we use source here. And now if we want to try to like rf, I think it's like I need to create the path.
You need to have something in it for a dash I to work.
It's complicated to trigger it.
It's try to which
Wait, what? I did know.
it's supposed to work.
Okay, it doesn't work. Maybe I can. Let me try again. Okay, it's kind of weird.
That's weird. Maybe it's I specific number.
Alright. Yeah, I think you can set it, but so basically, yeah, you can append a dash I, and you will like prompt you if you really want to delete this directly. But I'm not sure why it doesn't work. Yeah. Maybe my show is different. Okay. Oh, I think that's why. Probably my show is different. I don't know. Yep. Okay. That's so next. What's that? Yeah. I think IO redirection Android already like told you some basics. So you can actually like use inputs like using the last line symbol and use 2 last line symbol to input from a file. So I can show you like for example, we want to count number of lines of the sample.txt file. How should we do that? One quick way is actually like open. Hey, 7 line. Yes, but another smart way is to use the command called wc. It's basically word count, but it's also count the number of lines, and use the last line symbol with the sample.txt. Especially like you are telling wc we want to use this file as the input. So it will show 7, which is correct. Yeah. And another, I think I will probably skip that. So you can also do, for example, as we introduced before, you can like redirect your output to another file. For example, a fast fetch is a system information tool, and I output to a file. So you will show like system information in the file. Yep. And also pipe. So for example, grab, let me see what kind of, okay. We can do very complicated. We can do very complicated piping command, and you will like, it's these commands basically like show a historical. Yes. Yeah, I think basically that is the part. And shell scripting, for this, wait, so far is there any question of the commands I just described? Yeah.
The difference between the arrow to the left or to the right. I mean, can you use them interchange?
You mean what's the difference between left?
Yeah, and this one.
So the first one means you want to input from a file. And the second one means you want to like redirect your output to the file. Yes. Do you want to see again? So for example, if we like count the file number and we want to save this result, we can use the like greater than symbol. And you will see like it show nothing because it already be directed. And we can case, so it will store the result. And in contrast, if we use instance, this is on the opposite, where like input to WC command, which like it will not store any file to the directory. It will like fit the content to the input of WC.
But in this case, you could just flip the arrow away. It also works.
You mean like this?
Yes.
Because like, yeah, I think that's not a best example because WC support 2 modes. One is from the input directly, one is from the argument, the file. Yes. Yep. All right, so next part, I want to introduce some like essentials about shell scripting, which might be helpful for those people who want to write their script, want to be a scriptee. So, so you can, for example, I think the most important part is how do you pass arguments? Because in shell, like you communicate with programs with the arguments or inputs, and you can use this dollar with at symbol to access the arguments, all of the argument, and also like 1 to 9 means like which argument you are accessing. We also have logic operators and or. And third one is probably also important is to run the command and replace it with its output, sorry. And this can be powerful, and I will show you. And you might be wondering why I didn't teach you like if, else. Instead, I teach you like logic operator because use Python instead because Bash is not safe at all. So that's why like I don't recommend people learn Bash much because Bash is a very like error-prone language. So if you can avoid not using Bash, don't use it. Yes. Use Python. Python's good. Yeah. So let's I have a demo script which basically show like how does the this essentials do. So for example, first we can print out some info. Also, let me first introduce this. The demo sh is a regular file, but in show you can add the execution bit, means this file can be executable. So execute means you can just run it like this and it will print out something. So let's see like what is inside. So first part is to print some like arguments and what is the number of the argument. So to print the args count, you use the $sign with the sharp sign. Also, you can print out a screen name using 0. 0 is kind of different from other number like 1, 2, 3 because 0 means you want to print out or you want to access the name of the script itself. And here I also like to echo the first, second, third arguments, and at the end I also print out all the past arguments. So let's see what happens if we try to run the script and with some arguments. So demo. So for example, test 1, test 2, test 1, test 2, test 3. So you can see the args count is 3, which is correct because we supply 3 arguments. Also, the screen name is called demo.sh, which is also correct. And it also print out every arguments I supplied and what is the all past arguments. Yep. So great. So yep, that basically is the best, the most basic way to access the arguments. We also have the substitution command, which begin with the $sign and the parentheses. So for example, if you want to like use some command output as the variable, so we can use it like, for example, I'll assign user variable to the output of id-u-n, which essentially prints out the username. And groups is by running the groups command, which will like print out all the groups you belong. And let's try to run. So you can see fan is printed out, which is correct, which is the user I'm using, and also the groups I belong to. And next is the large operators. For example, I use test-f means we check if the first argument is a valid file name or not. And if it is true, it will echo the first argument is a file. So let's see if we supply some argument. So for example, test1 doesn't exist. And what happened if we do that? I think it will show nothing. Basically, it doesn't print out anything because test1 is not a file. But if we print out something like etc passwd, it will say this file is a file. So this is how logic operators end-to-end work. And in contrast, we also have a bar, toolbar, and toolbar is acted like an else statement you would encounter in other programming languages. Yeah, so for example, we also use test, but this time we use -d, which to check if the argument is a valid file directly name or not. So we can check demo, and if we use TMP. TMP is a legit directory, and it will show nothing because it only print out if the second argument is not a directory. So for example, we can also print out task. No. And it will show like BBBBB is not a directory, which is correct. But I emphasize again, I think like using this is too complicated. So you just use Python, like you have if and else, which is more straightforward. Yeah. Oh, and more complex example combining and then or, and I don't think you should write it because you probably will trigger your colleagues if you write something like this, like even without comments, you know. So this will like basically filter out the numbers in a file and show them. Just I think I showed it previously, so we can demonstrate sample.txt. So you will like filter out numbers and store them accordingly. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, if you really insist using shell to do programming, you can use if syntax. It's like kind of quirky. So I feel like shell probably is a very weird programming language. So I just feel like, you see, like even if fi at the end, it's like absurd, yeah. So, and this basically replaced the feature of this two, especially the same thing, but using if and else. So we can also check demo, and you can see like it can also correctly print out sample is a file. Yes. Yeah, I think that's something about like shell. Yeah. Yeah, so don't use it if you want to have a better life. Yeah. Oh, and some misc. So man, I think man is quite important. Wait, so far is there any question like, or do you have any? Yes.
What would happen if for some reason someone decided to run chmod on your PC to remove executable permissions from chmod? Like, how do you fix it then?
I think if you are root and you are using other shells, then it's fine, right? But if like you accidentally remove all the like shell X permission, one way is to like write a C program, right? Write a C program to run a command to do that. Yeah. I think it's not a big deal, like compared to like deleting the root directory, right? Yep. So, yep. So, any question? So, okay, I think the most important command in your system is man. So man basically is a manual, the abbreviation of manual. You can man, so for example, ls, and it will print out some documentation about ls. So which is a nice command. Man, no C, arch, awk, yeah, for example. And also history. So history, you can see like if I run history command, it will list out the command you used it before, you run it before. And you can also search your history by pressing Ctrl+R, and you will like, your prompt will be like reverse I search, and you can type, for example, CD, and it shows some history, which is useful. Also like shebang is basically to tell system that you want to use shell to execute it. So for example, if we check out demo.sh, we have a shebang at the beginning of our file, means like I want to use shell to execute this file instead of using Python or use GCC or other else.
So specifically here we use end commands, which is just your pool of the environment variable is gonna find bash, like in the bash is gonna find bash and execute it.
Yeah.
So you're just using bash.
So you can do something like this. Demo. I think Bing, cat, and test. Asked. Wait. Yeah, it print out itself. Yeah, so you can use whatever. I think you can use RM. Not sure. Let's try RM and put the. Okay, I survived. I don't know why, but better you can put whatever you want.
Can you change?
Yes.
Switch the name of RM to LS?
You mean
Yeah.
to what?
LS for CD.
Or like you want to vice versa, like this,
It's evil, but yes, you
like this, this L. Oh, it's a nightmare. So for example, I cannot list my directory right now. Oh, so in this case, you can always specify the absolute directory. And so for example, if I last sample, yeah, you would like, which is the worst. Yeah. But always not using this on your computer. Always use it on your friend's computer, right? That's the principle. Yeah. All right. I think, yeah. And other shows, I think you can search online. Yeah. We kind of, yeah.
How would you do it again to make the alias permanent? Because you have to put it in which file?
So for Bash, is I think Bash. Let me check my show is Bash or not. Still not Bash. Okay, basically I got for Zash, you have ZSHRC. So you can, so you see like that's why I have so many features because I have lots of things. So you can alias. So for example, like do this. So you can make it permanent when you fire out your show next time, you will just keep it. And for Bash, it's called Bash RC. I also have Bash RC, so let's check. So yeah, so I have some contents. Yep. Yep. Clean history, the easier way is to. So for Zash, it's called Zash history. And for Bash, is Bash is, but I believe history have some argument that allow to clean. Hmm. Let's see. History dash C like this. See?
And then you do this, that's yeah.
Let me see. No.
Maybe history steps, right?
Ooh, yeah, it did. So if I type history again, like it only show for, yeah, so probably, yeah, that works.
But the contents are still in the file. So your system still.
Yeah. So I think the best way is just to delete. Right? Yeah, right?
Delete your ZSRC.
I mean, in what situation you want to delete your history file? I don't know.
You're on your friend's lap.
Yeah, true. You're right. But I typically would do some, yeah, you typically would do more serious comments, right? So yes, the plug, I just like the last thing I want to say is like the plugin I use, which is nice. So you see, like I have an auto suggestion. If I type C, it will like show clear. And that's because I installed the plugin called Zash for Humans, which is a nice plugin. I think you can search online and install by yourself. And Oh My Zash is another plugin, but I feel like it's too bloated, so I just don't use it. I never use it actually.
I do use it because it's out of the box, but it's good.
Yeah, but I think like, yeah, people complain about it. Yeah. And you have fish we introduced before, and Zonish, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's very cool shell, but it will run Python and the bash together. So you can run import in your shell or like do some calculations directly in your shell. Yep. So yeah, we're all set. Any question?